video is brought to you by Rotan Foods. Rotan Foods brings you fresh quality produce from the market straight to your doorstep. As a wife and mother, you may want to ease up on the hassle of back and forth from the market to home. I know how tiring that can be. So just sit back and let Rotan Foods bring the food to you. On their website, you can shop so many items from dry fruits, dry foods, vegetables, and so much more, including spices. So try out www.rotanfoods.com and you'll be able to shop. They will deliver every Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Choose convenience. Choose Rotan Foods. I'm excited for you guys to meet Mrs. Priscilla Mirembe Serukka. Welcome to the channel. I'm so excited to have you here. You're going to let the viewers know who you are, what you do, so they just get to know you better.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I'm also very happy to share my story today. I'm a wife for 33 years this April. I have 4 sons. We've been blessed with 4 sons, adult sons. 3 are working, 1 is married, 1 granddaughter, and the 4th is just completing his university this very week. And what I do currently, I would say I'm retired from professional employment. I retired in December 2018, and I do consultancy work. I have a consultancy firm called Kairos Consult, which specializes in corporate governance, ensuring that boards have good corporate governance. When I was working formally with an international NGO for 15 years, we used to work with grantees. And one of the common thread problems we used to have would have grantees with very good ideas, lifting people out of poverty and doing so many wonderful things. But the issue of governance would let them down and many would lose funding. So I became passionate about it. I took some courses in corporate governance. I also decided I want to specialize in that area. I also sit on a number of boards.
Wow.
And then I also, while I was working with Strome Foundation, I was able to begin a subsidiary which was in a very poor state, put in place good corporate governance. And today it's still a thriving company. So the issue of corporate governance. I also do farming. We look after a number of goats. I have a very big banana garden, cassava, house avocado. I do work with the women. There's one called Wailing Women, which I'm really involved and engaged in. So that's what I do. My husband thinks I'm more busy, retired, than when I was not.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so. Thank you for that introduction. And I'm seeing that you're doing so much. You're married 33 years. You've been heading regions, in Strome Foundation and now consultancy. How are you able to juggle that career, your marriage, 4 sons? As young wives and mothers, we want to reach the top. But sometimes we are struggling. We don't know, how do we do it? So we want to hear more of your journey. How did you reach there and managing all these things?
All right. I want to say it has not been a straight line. I can't give you a formula A, B, C, D, and then it will all happen. But it has been first and foremost the grace of God, the help of God. I'm a born-again Christian and I commit my daily walk to Him. So along the way, He would give me wisdom, He would give me the courage and the strength. But I want to say also, I got married soon after university, after 1 year of working. And I got married 1 year later, the first son was there. 2 years later, another one has come. And it was not always easy. We used to get 45 days maternity leave those days. One of the coping mechanisms I learned through that is that I would postpone my annual leave so that I would go for annual leave when I'm giving birth.
So the whole time you're working.
You're working. Oh, you're working on public holidays, thrive on public holidays. But it meant, for example, on the second son, I had 6 months away from work. So I go back to work when I have introduced so many things, food, potty manners, and so on. Then I also learned I had to divide out my annual leave. When I'd had 28 working days, divide out my annual leave throughout the year. And I have to take the annual leave, so that every school holiday the children are at home,
you are home. There's
also a time when I'm at home. There were times when we were staying not too far from town, so I would go back home for lunch. So that I have that engagement also with the children. I remember a few times running home, like break time, when you ring and there's noise in the home and you wonder what is going on. I would run home to find out what is going on. Yeah. But a pillar I can look back on and see what has helped me, first of all, was being very planful and organized. As a married woman, I've learned that if I order my home right and there is peace in the home, I have peace at work.
That's very true.
Yeah. So, and for example, some of the things I also learned along the way. The children would come home at 5 o'clock from school. 5:30, they are having supper.
Hey, immediately.
Immediately they come home when they are really very hungry. Yes. And you ensure they are going to have a well-balanced diet with fruits, vegetables, and everything. And there's no cajoling, eat, finish, do what. Because before I learned that, they would begin with snacking. By 7:38, you're trying to get supper and they are dozing off and they are not able to eat. You are so stressed. Eat, wake up, you're shaking up somebody. So it was really a hustle. Yeah, so that gave me peace. The other thing I learned also to manage was to have a very good support system. A support system from my siblings, my mother, but also young friends at church. So they have been very helpful to me. For example, a helper has gone. Yes. There's somebody I could call and say, please, could you come and help me? Yes. Or my mother, I would just carry the children, take them there too, and then go to work, bring them back in the evening, and life would move on.
And otherwise, I like that because many ladies sometimes can feel like they're superwoman. I can do this on my own. Yeah? And then you end up crashing. You're stressed.
That support system is very, very key. Now, the other issue I also found, you are working, you want to grow in your career, you want to move on. I had to go back to school. Now, when I started my master's, my firstborn was in primary 7, and he was the first one in primary 7. So it so happened that his grades fell a little bit. And the headmistress then called, the late Mrs. Wambuzi, called me and said, Mommy, I understand you have gone back to school, and I am seeing it in the grades of your son. Oh. So she told me, your turn is over.
Please, focus.
Yes, you should have done that earlier. I think focus on getting your son through school with good grades. Yes. You'll now do it later. Oh. So all I did then was to finish the written papers, and I postponed going back to complete the research work. And I concentrated on seeing that he does very well, passes very well, goes to Budo.
Wow.
Then I tried in between before the second born now. But then I didn't quite make it to complete before he's in P7. And then I think my supervisor lost the papers or something like that. When I look back now, in hindsight, I think if you know what you want, as soon as you finish the first degree, it's better you do the master's
immediately
before you start the babies and getting married.
I think that's key because, like, for me as well, I finished university, started working, and a few months in there, I got married. Before I knew it, a baby had come. And now, I wanted now to do the master's. But then you would find, of course, classes are in the evening. You finish work at 5, classes are starting at 6, you're going to study up to 9, the children are still young. Yes. I had to weigh and say, but is this really a priority now? For me, at that point, I said, you know what, let me first pause it there.
I think it's a very important lesson one is to take, and because you'd get home, Then say the last born, I think I was still breastfeeding the last born when I started my master's. And he was 2 years, but I'd enjoyed and knowing I was not going to do it again, but I couldn't cope. You'd wake up in the morning and you're also dizzy. Yeah. So I had to leave it. At times you got home, somebody's sick. It was not easy. So how you plan it out is also a very key thing. Then also at work, how you use your time at work so that there are no time wasters. I remember when I was still working in the bank, that was my first job. Every time there was a promotion, I was promoted. Why? I was focused on my work to deliver the results. You wouldn't find me in these gossip complaining groups. Why? I have to go back home by 5 and start
the agenda. For you, you have your own.
I have an agenda. I had to go back home and start my other life. The other thing also in being planful, it helped me get quality time with my husband, especially in the evening. So when children would eat early, by 9, 8:30, they are in bed. That's when we'll have our dinner. And my husband, there is quiet. I am paying attention to him, not pulling somebody, please eat, please do this.
Go and shower.
No, we would have just the two of us. Or if there was a young child still breastfeeding, and that one was more manageable and controllable. So being deliberate to get that quiet time and peace with my husband, and there's peace in the home. He can also come back and there's peace and quiet.
I like that actually, because many times as moms, we can do anything for our children. We'll sacrifice, do all these things. But I want to hear more from you in regards to the marriage. As we are growing in that career, how do we ensure that we don't forget our husbands? Because it can happen.
It's a very, very important thing. First of all, with my husband, from when we were still young, would plan together, would pray together, and also being open in sharing what is on your agenda for today.
Yes.
And so he would know what is expected or what is not expected. But there are also times to need to be deliberate, because your sex life also can suffer.
Point. Tell us more.
If 3-4 days
have passed,
nothing, be worried about it.
Ladies, are you listening? Please don't let 5 days.
It. You have to be deliberate and know this week nothing is going on. I need to. So I need to make myself available. Sometimes you get so too tired, too busy. The end of the day, the last thing you want is that.
Of course.
But your husband, that's the first thing he wants.
I know. And we're always giving them the end of the day, which becomes a problem.
It's a problem. It's a very big problem. You don't need to have to wait even for the very end of the day when you really can't even lift a hand. You're too tired. So you need to be deliberate about it and ensure that it will happen. There are a few times we went away together. One of them, my husband went out for his master's to the UK and was away for 1 year. And in between, I went to visit him for about 3-4 weeks. And I took my children. Then we had 2 children. I took them to my mother's. You know, sometimes we think they will die when they are there. When you are not there with
mothers, you're like as if handbags, the children everywhere.
But they were very happy with my mother, and I concentrated on my husband, just the 2 of us. I wish we did many more times those kind of away together when the children were still younger. Now we are doing it much more often, by the way. Because recently we went to Dubai, just me and my husband. We told the children, anyone who wants to join us, you pay for your ticket.
Nice.
But when the children were growing up also, we got into the habit of going away for vacation every year. So 1 year, if we went out, the following year would look for something internally. But when we started, we didn't have anyway much money. But there were things like Sese Island, you drive your car. There are times we went camping out there, and the children, it was very exciting.
For them, it was
a very good vacation. It helped us to bond as a family, have family time, think through things, and generally be by yourselves. So we'd start planning, say, January for December.
And I like that, because many people say, we don't have money to travel, we don't have money, but you can start planning early.
Start planning early. And there are always cheaper tickets also when you plan early. We also developed a habit of planning together as a family. First, we used to do it with my husband. We would have this list of many things, the short term, medium term, long term.
This is a serious family.
And then we would pray over them. And eventually, as the children started growing, we started involving them in those engagements, and also them at their level to plan out whether it is excelling at work, excelling in sports, excelling in a musical instrument, and plan it out. And every quarter, initially, we would have every quarter a review. We would have family picnics. You didn't need to go to some expensive thing. I remember that we would go to the botanical gardens, but then also near Africana, there used to be a garden out there before things were spoiled. You would just cook your nice meal on Sunday and we would go in the garden. For the children, that was enough. And it would keep bonding, bringing the family together. I was also a very hands-on mother, in spite of my schedule. It means I taught my children how to read those storybooks. I taught them the mathematical tables as we are going in the car in the morning, 2 times 2, 4, you know, and we are learning the tables. In that way, I would go through their books, make time to be present at the school events,
concerts,
and be there. But would also go with my husband. He was also involved so much in those we would go together. And so even when I got a job later on where I would travel a lot, he would be there. And it helped in a way because the children were so much clingy, mommy, mommy. You know how boys can cling on mommy? But when I started traveling a lot, they had to adjust to daddy. And getting into that job, it is something we agreed together with my husband. First, I was scared. I said, now, will I manage? I said, why? There's a lot of traveling. I said, but I'm here. And it's so...
That's nice. Because that communication, to know that I can speak to, you talk to each other so that you get on the same level.
Yes.
Is really key.
He was very supportive. So even as I was going into this and a lot of travel, but I don't think we all imagined what it would mean.
He didn't understand it.
At the end, when I was resigning, I counted 40 countries. I had been to, at some of them more than twice or thrice. For example, I'd go to Norway like 3 times in a year. So it was quite a hectic thing. But again, being organized. When my children were in secondary school, they were in boarding schools. So make sure if they are going back to school, I would buy the things for school early. So that if I'm going to travel and they are going back when I'm not, and my husband will take them, the things are shopped. There's one time I didn't do it, and my husband said, don't worry, I'll buy them. Then my son told me, my eldest son told me, but next time, Mommy, I think you buy the things. Daddy can't manage those things. He went with all this money. He bought few things. Too much Colgate, too much soap, too much everything. And for you, you'd go with the same money and you'd stretch it out all because you know you'd go to visit in a month's time. So for him, he ran out of the money.
But I like that. I like that he was involved because I get questions from ladies, How do we encourage our husbands to be involved, to support us, even as we are growing in that career? Because you find that some men maybe feel threatened by the growth. So how do we manage that is it maybe that the women, when they reach a certain level, they don't want to, Now they reach in the home, they bring their position of work at home. What do you have to say about that?
Actually, I think one of the things which threatens a man is the money and when you feel you don't need them. I think the issue is you need to make him feel still needed. And the money was our money.
Can we just clap for that one, please? Yes.
The money was our money. So he feels, I have something in this.
It's adding to us.
It's adding to us.
Not yours.
So we would plan together, say, okay, we want to buy another house. We want to buy a plot of land out of this now. I've saved so much money from this journey. Let's open up a USD account and keep this money. It will help us to build and to make the other investment. So it was an hour thing. It was an hour investment. We are in it to benefit
both of
together.
us, yes.
So the threat is reduced. And then the respect. You know, men like respect at all
much.
levels. Whether you are, I was being called regional director, regional director, regional director. That was the title. But at home, it was not there.
Don't bring regional director here.
It was not there. That even on Sundays, I would try so hard to be home over the weekends. Even if I would be traveling wherever, I would squeeze my things, harass myself through the week. Friday, I'm home. Sunday, I'm cooking Sunday lunch. Why? I want to feel I am still part of the mother and the wife in this home. And I would also feel happy about it. The children also be happy. Mommy is in the kitchen. Good things are coming out of there today. Of course, when I look back, it was tiring. It was tiring, and there were sacrifices I would make. For example, if we are going to travel, and on Monday is when you begin the work, I would be out of my home Monday morning, early Monday morning. Whereas perhaps a colleague would go on Sunday,
first enjoy
time. Even when we finish the work, I'll try to make sure Friday I'm back home. I would finish and just hop on a flight and I'm back home. Others would like to relax. Saturday, come back leisurely. I didn't have that luxury. The other aspect also I would want to bring out is when you travel a lot, there can be temptations out there. They are all men. Sometimes I would travel with only men, actually. I would never allow any man in my bedroom. If there are things to discuss, but if they're official, we discuss them in the lobby, in the eyes of everyone. So you need to also to preserve and put boundaries around your marriage. Boundaries around the male people you work with and you travel with and you share with. You don't share everything, your bedroom things with these male people you're traveling with.
I know.
Yeah.
Because it'll be like, oh, as if comforting. Before you know it,
Hey. So the boundary lines have to be very clear. Ring fence your marriage is your marriage. There are no-go areas and those which are for your husband. Yeah. Then we invested a lot in communication when I would travel. I think I spent a lot of time on airtime and data. Of course, now things are easier. The communication, the Zoom hadn't started by then. But making sure you're communicating home nearly every day. Nearly every day you're communicating, you're talking.
Don't miss gaps.
Don't make unnecessary gaps in between.
Yes.
Yeah, so that one helped us a lot along through the years, the planning, the communication, keeping communication lines open. And as women, when we become powerful, and of course with it is the money, making sure you don't load it over him with the money and your money and everything.
How do we do that?
First of all, we had a joint account. And my salary would go to this joint account. We would use it together.
Let him see.
Yes.
For himself, yeah.
Yes. The good thing, even my husband was an open man, so it helps you to be even open and to share that money factor. Then not keeping secrets. You'd share, this happened. Or, I spent, even, those things we buy women, which you shouldn't have bought.
Yes, unnecessary items.
You bring it and you wonder, why did I actually buy this
You
thing?
say.
Yes, and eventually say, I got myself, but I'm even wondering why I even bought it. But anyway, it is in the house.
Yes.
So make him feel he's treasured. Even when we would come home, would go around still. It's a habit we built when we were still young, and it continued through going places together, traveling together, visiting parents together. It helped us know we are still together and relevant to
one another.
We also had a circle of young friends where we all got married the same years, like Auntie Chitabira. We would meet together sometimes.
And discuss.
Discuss, share our wins and losses and where we are struggling. Then you find other couples are also going through the same things. So it's good to have a circle of trusted friends.
Like accountability to one another.
Share together, learn together. Today we are still together, But what we are doing is helping our children get married.
Yes.
Supporting each other on that journey now of marriage.
And I keep telling people you cannot do marriage alone and mothering. You need some sort of space where you can open up. Sometimes you feel like, I'm the only one going through this. Yes. And then you listen to others. You're like, hey, for me, I managed it like this. So that is very key. Please do not do life alone.
Yes. And even still in that same group, we have another small group of 4 ladies. We call ourselves Abachala. Actually, the ED of Kampala is one of those groups. We're part of that group. So we do meet together, talk, laugh, cry together, pray together, stand with one another. Eat together. Generally have a time, that fun time where you're just a nice girl and laugh your way out of life and discuss some things. There's even a friend sometimes where in one of those 4, we can meet together and say, hey, it's a long time we've chatted. When there are things that have stressed you and you just offload your stress to one another, it keeps you sane, happy, and you're not keeping things bottled in.
I know, you can burst.
Yes, don't keep things bottled in. One of the secrets I learned of being successful at work is being able to have a peaceful home.
Because if it's not peaceful,
yes,
at work you will not deliver.
Yes, if you're not peaceful at home with you, and especially with the husband, then things will be easier at work to concentrate. You'll not be backing at people at work. You know, women, when they say the women bosses who back at people.
People fear. When you hear, who's the boss? A woman. Problems.
But the problems come because of those unresolved issues from home and the stresses at home. As a women leader also, it was a challenge leading in a male-dominated arena.
Let's touch that because it's very key. We are struggling.
You know, one of my biggest shocks, I was overseeing South Sudan, and it's a very male-dominated society. So one day, the new regional director is coming to visit in South Sudan, and I was given a bad seat, but I didn't know the regional director. We had traveled men, I was the only woman. And of course, I know it must be a man.
They don't expect a woman. So you were given...
So I was given a kawas seat, a funny rickety chair there in the corner, a bench. I said, okay. And when the men I was with, one of them was offering me a better chair. I said, no, this is what I've been offered. So then they call the regional director. Sure. And then they have this wish list, what they want the regional director to give to them. Then the regional director comes, it is the woman.
Oh, after you've just thrown her this side. Embarrassed.
You could see how they started trying to change the chairs around, and I insisted to sit on that other one, which you had wanted me to sit on, and they have this wish list. So leading in a male-dominated world is also another thing as a woman. One thing I learned is, again, to be focused and organized. You can never challenge the woman who is focused and organized and is delivering.
Yes.
So when they feel you don't understand, but you have all your facts ready, go to boardrooms when you are ready and prepared.
Don't give them reason
to
doubt you.
You have read everything. You are giving point after point. They will listen to you. So women, we have extra work to do in that male-dominated world by being prepared, being organized, and being able to deliver.
Yes, I like that, because sometimes we have self-pity. Now, of course, they will not. No. She has told us, for you have your things, be excellent. Yes. They have no choice. Even if they try to look for what, for you already set.
You're already there and up to it. So there is that male-dominated. In fact, I want to write a book one day, living in a male-dominated world, because males still have that feeling that we don't think too well, or perhaps we are a little less
lower,
than them.
Not good enough.
Yeah, so you're always trying to prove yourself. But being focused, being organized, being orderly in how you deliver, and the emotional intelligence. Women will lose it when we start
crying.
You're crying around.
It's a challenge. What do we do? You have to be strong.
Yeah. Perhaps I became a little hardened in the boardroom because of that, because you have to prove
that I will not cry.
You are also okay and you are together. And these shocks are not going to shock you the life out of you. So yes, it's a quite so women, we need to get our act together. Leave your tears back in the bedroom.
In the bedroom.
But also, I learned over the years that men are also not so very comfortable with our tears. They get threatened by them.
They don't understand what to do.
Eventually, they start to ignore them. And you know, it hurts you more.
Like they're not understanding, they're not feeling me.
So it's actually a real manipulation sometimes we use, and it will not always get us away. We need to outgrow those kind of things.
Wow. Thank you so much. Now, I want to hear from you. Knowing what you know now, I know you've shared a few things, but knowing what you know now, where you are there some things you could have done better? Either as a wife, as a mom, or even career-wise that would help us maybe avoid them or do better?
Okay, some things I would have done better. Today, perhaps, you know, the children grow so quickly. Now they don't even have that much time. Before they would cling to you, mommy, mommy.
Now they don't want to
pushing them away. I think I should have been, there's a certain stage when they were teenagers, I should have continued in being deliberate also in me time with them, each one of them as individuals.
One-on-ones.
Because after a time, each one, their individuality comes out. And you can't handle them in a group. Some children are very talkative and expressive. Others, their expressions are all bottled in, and you need to get them out. So there are times now when I say when they were teenagers, I should have been more sensitive to that, to get that deliberate one-on-one. I started catching up on that when they were at university. Some are not available, some are available, go one-on-one dates with them. But there was that teenage time which I should have spent more time to bond with them and draw them out. And you know, there's always the lead children who are so talkative and expressive.
Yeah.
You just know if there's a problem, you hear it anyway, just a matter of time. So they can make you lose sight of those other more quieter ones and introverted ones. So it's good to pay attention to those other things. The other thing which I think if I were to do it again, perhaps I shouldn't have taken my children automatically to secondary schools in boarding.
Yeah?
Because the boarding life, yes, it teaches certain things, but in a way I am giving away what I should be teaching them to somebody else to teach them.
Because it's a secondary school.
And the way they are teaching it and the way they are teaching them may not be the right way. Because I feel if perhaps they had been a good secondary school, day school where they go and come back, it helps you keep inculcating the values you want them to carry out in life. Instead of somebody thrashing so many things into them. It is something I thought about and I said, I think perhaps one needs to rethink this boarding school in secondary.
That's a new one, wow.
Yeah. To have more bonding. And you know, the world is becoming more and more evil out there.
Too much.
We never had all these gay things, all these whatever things. It's too much. The drugs, the what. You know, the one in our days, it was not a common thing. So we need to be more alert as parents. Let's not follow the way perhaps you went to secondary school or you went to boarding, therefore your children are going to boarding.
Follow.
What are they safe? What are they picking out there? By the time you know, reversing some things is going to be a very big problem. Be deliberate in talking about these evils even today with your children.
Like don't hide, because someone else will tell them.
Don't hide them, and you don't know what they're telling them. Okay, I used to organize every holiday. We are talking about HIV/AIDS, or 1 week we are talking about these relationships, drugs, alcohol, and so thing. And I remember one cheeky son of mine told me, we are going on Mommy's favorite topics. I said, okay, now that you know they are my favorite topics, we are going to talk about them. Do what you can to talk about them. There are a lot of resources today. Perhaps I should have used some of those resources. Getting a small video clip and downloading it and letting it say, okay, now let's discuss. instead of perhaps your funny lectures sometimes.
Yes, yes. That you were talking, the tired parents.
Yes, get some of those resources, use them, and say, okay, there's this thing. Can we? What do you think? What do you think about this? And they know so much. They know so much more than we think our babies know. So use that time to talk, to discuss. Be deliberate in getting these evil. They will meet them out there, so talk about them and get the viewpoint on how they should respond to some of those issues. Get to know their friends, because they're chief influencers of your children, whether you know it or you don't know it. They're the ones who influence them. Even more deliberate in time with my husband. I remember there are times we used to have dinners out or lunches out. Then my husband became so busy, and then sometimes you are going for lunch, he's still in a meeting, Today, when I look back, I think there is a time where we sort of compromise it, where we should have kept at it when the work gets so busy. And today, now, it's something we are catching up on.
Trying to catch up,
We are trying to catch up on that. And also, if I look back, being a mother is a very, what can I say? There's a lot of sacrifice. Be ready for the sacrifices. But it's for a short time.
Yeah, it's a season.
Yes, it's a short time, and then it is over when they are there, when you want, and now you are to call, hey, hello, where are you? How are you? How is everything? You know? So give it your all. Give it your all and your time. Be an engaged mother, following up. Yes, they will disturb. You wake up in the night, somebody's sick, you're doing this and the other. Enjoy it while it lasts. It's only for a short time, and they are gone.
Because we keep hearing the saying, the days are long, but the years are short. Before you know it, they have run away. So sometimes we want to still be moms, but still have our lives before. Yet it's impossible. Please, focus in the season.
You want to sleep your 8 hours of sleep, my friends?
Please, let's try and focus on the agenda.
So just reprogram your mind, and you won't die when you sleep for 4 or 6 hours, by the way. It will soon be over. Enjoy it, and when the child is happy, by the way, eventually they will sleep more, and you have more time to sleep.
True.
And more time to do other things, and they'll be healthy. And you'll also be more happier at the end of the time. Yes, focus on the season and enjoy each moment. I enjoyed so much those motherhood years when the children were young. But it was a lot of work, as I've told you. You have to organize things, and things have to be in order. But enjoy it. Afterward, it's gone.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. You guys, I've learned so much. Prioritizing, focusing on the season, emotional intelligence at work. It's very key for us to really have it, Don't give people reason to doubt you. Yes, you're a woman, but you have so much to offer. So let's show them that. Yeah. And as we, finalize, I just give us some parting shots. Any final tips for us for the home that we can learn, and try out?
Okay. Make your home a peaceful place where the husband will enjoy to come back. Guard against being quarrelsome and, a barricade of waters is coming in. Let your kitchen be a nice kitchen with nice surprises. There's always room to keep learning new things, new dishes. I'm still learning new dishes for my family. Let it be an interesting place that he will enjoy to come and eat at home and be at home. So he doesn't come and say, no, it's okay, I'm not having supper, those kind of
I had a heavy lunch.
It's because of the food that always comes, that is the maid, and everyone, every time is the one cooking. Make time for those moments. Be deliberate and make boundaries for your marriage, so that you do not bring in other unwanted people who should not be a part of the marriage. Make time to attend marriage seminars. Keep learning.
Yeah.
The learning never ends about marriage and how to work at your marriage together. build a circle of friends, a support system around you. Today we are learning this Western world of being loners and so on, but let's keep having that circle of friends around us, keep learning. And if you don't know Christ, invite him into your life and in your marriage. It's a very key, he's a very good friend. He knows all things, he understands all things. And allow him in. There are times we would have misunderstandings with my husband and would still pray and would go to pray like, God, you know, I'm not happy. He has done this and the other. But you know, and he's the third arm hearing all this quarrel that you have had. And eventually, you know, life moves on because you have that third person in the home who is not even going to tell out that secret to another person anywhere. So bring him into your marriages and let him be a central pillar in your home.
Wow.
And another parting shot I would like to say is, you can always get another job. So if things at the job are completely against the marriage and they're tearing the marriage apart, you know, this issue, you're working in Karamoja, the home is in Kampala, you're never there and you have to be at the base, you can always get another job, but you can never get another marriage. Yes, you may, but going back on the drawing board with all the baggage of children and everything is a very difficult thing. So treasure your marriage. Prioritize your marriage. Don't let your marriage, things come into the marriage which will tear it apart. Rebuilding it is a very difficult exercise. So work on the daily wins and make sure you preserve your marriage.
I love it. Love to hear it. Please prioritize your marriage. You can get another job, but you can never get another family. Thank you so much. It was an honor to have you on the show. Guys, please let us know in the comment section, you know, what are those key highlights? Are you going to implement them? Wisdom is here. And if you do not put it into practice, it's all on you. My name is Lisa Kusima, and as always, I'm here to inspire.